Good evening, my lovely nerdy friends. This is the Lunduke Journal podcast, number 6. Yes, it's right in front of me, episode number 6. For those of you watching or listening to this over on the YouTubes, you've missed out on episodes 1 through 5 because you are not subscribed over at the Lunduke Journal. You can do so over at lunduke.substack.com or lunduke.locals.com. Either way, you get the episodes of the podcast over at lunduke.substack.com. There's also a RSS feed for the Lunduke Journal podcast. You can get all that there, and if you pitch in a couple of dollars, you get a couple of extra episodes because you're a fancy, wonderful person. But I figured every now and then I might throw one or two over the wall over at the YouTube, especially when it is ridiculously self-promoty like this episode. I'm just happy right now. I'm feeling really pleased with myself. So Linux Sucks, the book is starting to roll out into people's hands, at least the first chapter. For those of you who've been following along, after I announced that I finished the book and was going into edits, I started teasing about it, and I secured a publisher, and that was really exciting for me. Normally I self-publish my books. I mean, I've always had other publishers that I worked with for magazines, but I've never had my stuff published by a book publishing house. I'd always self-published in the past. And that was my plan this time. But now I've got a publisher lined up, so there's going to be a physical, hardback version of Linux Sucks. The rise and inevitable fall of the greatest operating system of all time. And I'm really excited because I'm really happy about the book. It's turned out really well. And after talking with the publisher, and we're still working out a lot of the details about exactly when the book will go up for pre-orders and orders and all that sort of thing. So we've got an announcement forthcoming on that. But we've decided it'd be very cool to keep with the original plan of everyone who subscribes to the Lunduke Journal kind of gets the digital copy of the book. But in order to really build up the hype momentum, I'm going to release it in by chapters. So like today I released chapter 1. A little later this week, I think either we're gonna do it, I think on Thursday, I'm gonna release chapter 2, which is really fun. Hold on a second, let me grab this up here so I've got it here. So chapter 1 is entitled Linux Sucks, How Dare You? And it's just kind of like the introduction chapter, right? And I'm really happy with it. It's the shortest chapter of the book because it's just kind of setting the stage and setting the tone for everything. And I end it with the phrase, "Buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to get our Linux on." And I love that I managed to build in "Buckle up, Buttercup" into my book. And then chapter 2 is entitled GNU, Minix, and the Before Times. And that comes out a little later this week. And then a couple days after that, chapter 3, which is entitled Just a Hobby, comes out, and it goes on from there. And I'm really happy with how this book came out. It is very much it's like a love letter to Linux, while making merciless fun of Linux and talking about how awful it is and how wonderful it is all at the same time. And it really is a history book. Like, it really dives in deep into the history of the people and the things and the technologies and the movements and the programs and the companies and the organizations and the big missteps and the successes, and it's really all over the map. But it kind of goes in chronological order, and by the end of the book, if you read the whole thing, you are basically like the world's greatest expert on the history of Linux at that point, because I mean it's just got so much in there, and we're not just talking about like the kernel. It's like the whole world around Linux, right? It's the GNU stuff and the all of the related companies and projects and things that led to it and things that were impacted by it. And it's just, there's so many anecdotes and stories and so many things that I saw, and so many because I've been around in the Linuxy world for a couple of moons now, and part of the luckiness of doing what I do is that I've gotten to see behind the curtain an awful lot. I've gotten to see how the sausage is made. I've gotten to hear from people who, were there and did the stuff and had to vent and had opinions about things. And I'm including just like all of that in this book. I put in here in the book this one particular line. You know how some people say, "Oh, the stories I could tell." Well, I've got those stories, and I'm about to tell them. Yeah, I know. It made me happy. Anyway, so the book's rolling out. So the first chapter rolled out today to everyone. And if you want it, go subscribe. Either, again, lunduke.substack.com or lunduke.locals.com. Either way, it works out just fine. There's benefits to each one. I like both methods. Lunduke.locals.com is more of a community. It's more of like my own version of Twitter. And Lunduke.substack.com is more of a publication, where you get like every article I produce and show I put out in your email inbox and all that sort of thing. But either way, you can't really go wrong. So big thank you to everyone who has become a subscriber to the Lunduke Journal. I could not have gotten here without you. You're all absolutely fantastic, lovely people. And I want to thank everyone for that. So anyway, so this is, I didn't really have a plan for this particular episode other than I'm just really, really pleased as punch that this is happening. The general plan right now is by the time you get the last chapter of Linux Sucks, if you want to get the published version of it, you'll be able to, the physical hardback version, and it will be hardback, baby. This is what I've wanted from the beginning, is a classy hardback version of it, because it's a big book, it's a history book, and it has some really serious stuff, and there's a lot of jokes and a lot of anecdotes and funny stories. But it's an important book, I feel like, and so I really wanted it to be in hardback, in part so that I could put it up on my bookshelf and have it look really classy. I wanted a classy-looking book that says Linux Sucks on the binding, really that fabric-style hardback book with just bold Linux Sucks written on the side. Oh, I'm super psyched about that. Anyway, I hope all of you are having a great time. If you're, again, watching this or listening over on YouTube, you got to get over somewhere else. I don't care. I don't care if it's Substack. I don't care if it's Locals. I don't care where you join up for. There's free accounts. It's super duper easy. It's not that big of a deal. Just hop over to the other one. There's no ads in them. There's no weird craziness. There's no weird like algorithms that track you and show you what to watch next and all that sort of thing. It's just you just subscribe and you get the good stuff. Anyway, I love all of you. I hope you're having a great time. I hope you got to do something really nerdy this weekend. I did. Well, I'll talk about that in another episode. I'll see you guys later.